Hello, are you a JavaScript developer and you're actually you want to get employed by most of these companies that pay higher for high money, $50K and above? Now, this is our day five challenge for our 6 month mentorship program where we train our students for job readiness. And every day we actually give them challenges that they kind of test that these companies that hire for $50K and above actually give when you write their test. So today's challenge, today day five, we taught our students about objects in JavaScript. So the challenge today is, now this is kind of test. I have written this test. The first time I wrote it, I failed it. The second time I wrote it, I passed it. I passed for JavaScript and I passed for TypeScript. Okay. So now this is kind of questions they actually ask. The problem here is that they said you have an object that represents a portfolio of accounts. So each with multiple transactions. So each of these portfolio accounts actually have they actually have multiple transactions. So this is what it looks like. So this is the portfolio object. Okay, so you can see that this portfolio object has it's an object that has account one, account two, account three. So these are different properties and these are their values. So now the task here is that we should write a function get net balance. All right, the name of the function will be get net balance, and it will take a portfolio object as a parameter. Then it will calculate the total net balance of all accounts, including their transactions. So it's going to calculate. We should write a function that will calculate the balance of this is a portfolio. Let's assume now that this is a user's account. So the user has the user portfolio. The user has 3 accounts, and each account has balance. All right, and each account also has transactions. So we are asked to write a function that will calculate the total net balance. So we are going to calculate balance one, balance two, balance three, and we also calculate all the transactions they have made. So we are going to calculate and return the net of it. So the second task is that we should write a function that gets the highest transaction that returns the largest single transaction across all accounts. So this second function should check all the transactions and check which of the accounts has the highest transaction. All right, the highest net transaction. So now, step one is that you need to understand the data structure. That's the first thing. All right, but the thing is that when these companies actually give you this test, you only have 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. When I wrote my own, it was a 15 minutes. It was a 15 question. It was the questions were 15, and I was supposed to do it in 30 minutes. Okay, so that's 2 minutes. So we are working with a nested object. So the main object here contains other objects. So the main object, which is the portfolio, contains another object. Okay, so let's go back. Look at it. This is an object. The main portfolio contains an object. Okay, the main portfolio contains an object. All right, and then it has nested objects. It is an object that contains other objects. All right, and these other objects even have arrays inside of them. So you should understand the data structure. So each account has balance and also has transactions. And the transactions are actually arrays of numbers. So you should actually understand the data structure. This is what we taught our students in day five. So if you don't understand the objects in JavaScript, you should actually enroll for that program. So example is this. We have this account. Now our portfolio have this account. Okay, account one, account two, account three. So our portfolio is an object that has nested objects inside of it. So the solution requires us to iterate through the object values. Now, object has values and keys. Key value pairs. Objects are key value pairs. So our job here is to iterate through the object values and then process arrays inside of these objects. So we are going to iterate through the portfolio object, and each iteration will give us an account like this to give us the key. The key here is account one, and the property, the value is this object. So that's what we are going to do. So let us calculate the net balance first. So the formula is that for each account, the net account balance. So for each account, the net account balance will be the balance plus the sum of the transactions, because the transactions are actually arrays. So we'll get the balance and then we'll get the transaction. We do the sum of the transaction. Then we should add all account balance together. So this is the expected result. So now let's go into implementation. So when we call this function and give it the portfolio, we should get something like this. So now, um, but before I do this, I need to get the, okay, let me, okay, just, uh, okay, so now this is the object, okay, this is the, what we are working with. This portfolio is an object that has other objects inside of it. So it's an object and the keys, account one, account two, account three, but the values of these keys are actually other objects. So now I'm going to do this, bring back my slide. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be writing the code side by side so that you'll be seeing it. So now our implementation, first of all, oh, sorry. So we need to create a, they ask us to create a function. So the function name, this is the implementation. And as I write, I will explain the code, okay? So now the function, the name is get net balance, and it will take a portfolio object. All right. So now, because we are calculating the total, we're actually calculating the net total, the net balance of this portfolio. We have to start by declaring a variable that will hold the total. So we assign, initialize it to 0. Now let us loop through the portfolio order. Remember that the portfolio is an object that has key value pairs. So we can actually loop through the portfolio with the for loop. We say let account. So this account, there is something we have objects. If object dot values, if you call this function on any object, it will return the key. It will return now. It will return each of the key value pair. Return now. In this case, now on each iteration, we are going to, since we're iterating through this portfolio object, we are going to be getting this. What the first iteration will give us this one, the second iteration will give us this one, the third iteration will give us this one. Okay, so that's what we will have in this account. All right, if I go for keys, all right, to give me just the key. Do you understand? If I say object.keys, it will give me just account one, account two. Okay, just give me the key name, the keys. But if I since I'm going for the values, it will just give me their values. All right, that's what it will give me their values. So if you don't understand objects, all right, in this our mentorship program, we taught object in a deep sense. Okay, so now for us, for each account, we need to get the sum of their transactions, because for every iteration we are going to get this object or as a value here. But remember that each of them has a transaction which is an array. So let's say this it will be let's call this thing the transaction sum, the sum of transaction for each of the accounts. So I will say account dot transactions, okay, and then I will call the reduce method on it. So these are the things, sorry, reduce. These are the things we teach in our mentorship classes. So I'll call the reduce method on it. And this reduce method will take the accumulator and the what we want to do, and then it would say accumulator plus A, and then the initial value for the accumulator is this. So when we run this code now, it would do a sum. We could actually still use the math.sum. We could actually use the math.sum to do these calculations, but we can still, there are a couple of ways we can do. So drop in the comment section, how could you do this thing? We are trying to get the sum of each transactions. We'll be doing this for each and every value that we have here. So you can drop in the comment section. We can use the math.sum to do it, passing the array to it, and we can also use the reduce method. So drop in the comment section, how else can you do this? So with this thing now, we have gotten for each of the account, we have gotten their distance. So now the total will now be plus equal to the account, remember the account that we have, account dot balance. Every account has their balance and then plus the transaction sum. I hope you understand this. Okay. So first of all, we declared a variable here that will hold the total. Then we are looping through each and every oh my God, sorry. This is supposed to be inside of my oh sorry, because yeah, it's supposed to be inside of the for loop. All right. So as we are looping through all of them, we are getting the value, and each of the value we are getting the account. The account, each value now contains has transactions and also have the balance. So if for each of them we are adding this to the total. So for the first iteration, it will come here, get the sum of these transactions. 100 minus 50 will be 50 plus 200, that would be 250. Then that 250 plus the balance, that will now be 1,250. That will be for the first iteration. The second iteration will do the same thing. That's what we are doing here. So at the end of the day, after the iteration, we are returning the total. All right. So this is the implementation. So I am going to expand my Visual Studio Code so that you see the code. Okay. So this is the code this is what we have here. All right. So if I go on now and call this function, I say console.log. I pray we don't have any error. Get net balance. We'll give it the portfolio that we have. And if I save this and if I run, fingers crossed, you can see we got 3,125. That is the expected result. So if you go back to our slide, you see that the expected result is 3,125. So our function is working correctly. So we have solved this. So I hope you understand what we are doing here. We are declaring a variable that will hold the total, and we are having a loop, a for loop here. For each iteration, we are getting this account one, account two, account three. So first of all, we'll get the transaction sum. We'll do the reduce method, or we can use the math.sum to get for each account, we get or the sum of the transaction. And after that, we are adding the balance of this account and the transaction sum to the total. Then the second time it repeats again, the another iteration until we get all the total. So that's what we have achieved here. So this is beautiful. So drop in the comment section, how could you actually do this on your own? Okay. All right. So the next thing is to find the highest transaction. So the formula is, first of all, we have to collect all the transactions from the portfolio object. We have to collect all the transactions. Once we collect all of each and every one of them, we will now compare them. All right, to find the highest transaction. We could actually still use math.max. Once we have calculated all the transactions, we have done the sum of all the transactions, we can now use math.max. So we return the maximum value. Okay. So the result will be, when we call the get highest transaction, it will give us 300. And if you take a look at the transaction, the highest transaction here is what? 300. You can see that's the highest transaction here, 300. Okay. So now let's get into implementation. Okay. So this is the code. All right. So let me bring up my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to, okay, I'll do this. All right. Okay. So I have it here. I will collapse this function, and I will also comment this one out. All right. So I'll write the next function. The next function will be function get highest transaction. It will take portfolio, and then first of all, we'll have a variable here called max transaction. Okay, and would assign it to negative infinity. You can say assign it 0, whatever. All right, you can assign 0. So now let us loop through let us loop through each and every account in the portfolio object. So we'll still go with the object dot values to give us the values. not the keys, to give us the value. Remember, objects are key value pairs. So this will give us the values, not the keys. So once we do this, because remember, the accounts are actually, what's it called again? The accounts, every account has balance and transaction, and we are concentrated on the transactions now. And remember, the transactions are also arrays. So we're also going to loop through this array. Say let maybe tx as transaction of account dot transaction. Okay, sorry, my bad. Of account dot transactions. Okay, so when we loop through it, as we are looping through each and every one of them now, we are going to be getting, we can now say if tx, okay, which is the transaction, is greater than max transaction, what do? The max transaction will now be equal to this ts. And at the end of the day, we will return mass transaction. So let me give you a little tour on this code. All right. This is what we are doing. Let me expand it again. This is what we are doing. We want to get, this is the portfolio. We want to loop through, we want to go deep and loop through each and every transaction that we have and check which of the accounts or which of the transaction has the highest, the maximum spending. So I can go here and first of all, we create this maximum transaction to be infinite, or we can even just make 0. Okay, whatever. Now, so we are using nested loop here. So the first loop here will go through the portfolio object, and then each and every iteration will give us this account. So we have it here. Then after that, for each iteration, then we're also doing another for loop inside of it because we are trying to get to the transactions, and the transactions are actually arrays. So when we say TS of account of transaction, so as we loop through this array, it will give us, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, each and every one of them like that. And once we get the transaction here, we are now checking if this transaction is greater than the max transaction. Okay, sorry. The reason why we should go with this infinite is because of we could actually have negative numbers or any numbers at all. We don't really know because we are not sure of what is contained in these transactions. So now if TS is greater than mass transaction, what do? We will now say TS is equal to, mass transaction is equal to the TS. So we'll loop through each and every one of them until we get the result. All right. So now we could also just use return max.max, but because we are doing a nested loop here, we could actually not do something like that. But drop in the comment section, how could you solve this problem? So if I go on now and call this function and say console.log, and I'm going for get highest transaction, and I'll pass in the portfolio. Let us see what it gives us. I will save and run. It gives us 300, and that's the expected result. And if you take a look at all the transactions we have here, 300 is the highest. So congratulations to us. We're able to solve this problem, but you have to be fast. All right, I understand this is a tutorial and this is preparation. So, but when you're doing these things, you have to start thinking very fast so you can actually pass that test. So, thank you very much. And if you like this video, like it. If you enjoyed this video, like it. Share this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not, because I'll be dropping this in as much as you're not in the mentorship class, you'll be getting this kind of challenge. Every challenge we have, I'll be dropping it here and I'll making it available for you. So, if you want to learn more and get deeper and understand better in web development, full stack, you can also subscribe to the mentorship program. So drop your WhatsApp number, drop mentorship if you want this. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next challenge.